Think you've been training your abs the right way? I thought so too, until I realized 90% of what I was doing was basically wasting my time. Sit-ups, leg raises, random crunches, sure they burned, but my core wasn't actually getting stronger. I wasn't building real control, stability, or definition. I was just moving. Here's the truth. Nobody tells you. Most people don't actually train their abs. They just feel them burn. But that burn doesn't always mean progress. It could mean your hip flexors are doing the work, or your lower back is taking all the pressure. Sound familiar? That sharp pinch you get halfway through your leg raises? Yeah, that's not a good sore. That's your body begging you to stop cheating your form. When I started my 90-day calisthenics-only ab journey, I made all those mistakes. I thought if I just did more reps, I'd get results. But reps without control are like building a skyscraper on sand. It looks fine at first, until everything collapses. So I went back to square one and relearned what core training really means. Before I reveal what actually worked, let's fix the biggest misconceptions that hold most people back. The first one? Thinking abs are only about movement. It's not about how many crunches you can do, it's about how still you can keep everything else. That's where real strength hides. Next, most people rush. They yank their legs up, swing their body, or use momentum instead of muscle. Every time you do that, you're skipping the part where your abs are supposed to stabilize and control. You're teaching your body bad habits. And here's the thing. Those habits don't just limit your ab gains, they affect your posture, your pull-ups, even your push-ups. So here's what I did differently. Instead of chasing reps, I started chasing control. Slow, precise, locked-in movements that forced my abs to actually work. I stopped thinking of my abs as a six-pack to sculpt and started thinking of them as the foundation of every movement I do. Like the base of a skyscraper, if it's solid, everything above it stands tall. And that's when things started to change. I wasn't just seeing definition, I was feeling strength in every other exercise. My planche got steadier, my pull-ups cleaner, even my breathing improved. But before I show you exactly how I trained them, and the simple technique that turned everything around, you need to understand one key principle that most people ignore. It's small, but once it clicks, it transforms the way your abs engage in every single rep. Think you've been training your abs the right way? I thought so too, until I realized that for years, I'd been doing almost everything wrong. Sit-ups, leg raises, endless crunch variations. I chased that burn like it was proof of progress. But the truth? I wasn't actually getting stronger. My form was sloppy, my control was non-existent, and my so-called ab workouts were just a game of chasing fatigue instead of building strength. Here's the thing nobody tells you. Just because your abs hurt doesn't mean they're working. That burn you feel could easily be your hip flexors doing all the work, or your lower back screaming because it's compensating for weak stability. And you might not notice it right away, but those habits add up, leading to poor posture, lower back tightness, and zero visible progress. When I started my 90-day calisthenics-only AB challenge, I decided to strip away everything I thought I knew. No weights, no machines, just my body and gravity. Sounds simple, right? But what I discovered was that training abs correctly with only calisthenics isn't about how many reps you do. It's about how you do every single rep. Let me ask you something. When you're doing hanging leg raises, where do you feel the tension first? If it's in your thighs or hips before your abs even engage, you're missing the point. That's mistake number one. Using momentum or the wrong muscles to move instead of using your core to control. Here's mistake number two. Thinking your abs' main job is to bend your spine. It's not. The real function of your core is stability. It's to keep your spine and pelvis locked in place while your limbs move. Imagine your core like the foundation of a skyscraper. The taller the building, the stronger the base needs to be. Without that stability, everything above it, your arms, shoulders, legs, starts wobbling. So if your foundation is weak, every other movement suffers. I learned that the hard way. I'd do 50 crunches, thinking I was killing it, but the next day, my lower back would be on fire. That wasn't good soreness. That was my body telling me I was doing it wrong. I was flexing my spine over and over, letting my hips take over, and never truly bracing my core. So here's the first shift I made. Instead of moving my body through space, I focused on resisting movement. For example, I swapped regular sit-ups for hollow body holds. You've probably seen gymnasts do them. Lying on the ground, arms and legs extended, just holding position. Try that for 30 seconds and you'll realize how much harder it is to stay still than to move. That stillness is where your core wakes up. Then came the second breakthrough, slowing everything down. Most people rush ab workouts. They swing their legs up, drop them fast, and call it a rep. But when you slow it down, like a 3-second lift and a 3-second descent, your abs have no choice but to stay engaged. That's when you start building, not just burning. In the beginning, I couldn't hold a hollow position for more than 20 seconds without shaking. My ego hated it. But I stayed consistent, focusing on clean form over reps. Within a few weeks, my body started adapting. My lower back stopped aching, my posture improved, and even basic moves like push-ups and pull-ups felt easier because my body was finally connected through a stable core. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Once you understand how to properly engage your core, every exercise becomes a core exercise. Planks, L-sits, hanging knee raises, they all transform when you lead with control instead of speed. So let's break down what control actually means. Imagine you're doing a hanging knee raise. Most people just swing their legs up and drop them. Wrong. The right way? Start by slightly tucking your pelvis. Think about bringing your rib cage down toward your hips. That tiny movement locks your core in. Then, as you lift your knees, think about curling your pelvis, not just lifting your legs. Hold at the top, feel your abs contract, then slowly lower back down. No swinging, no momentum. That's one perfect rep. Now, if you're thinking that sounds hard, you're right, it is. But that's the difference between training your abs and just moving your legs. When you master that pelvic control, you'll start to feel your abs working through their full range of motion. And over time, that control translates into visible definition and rock-solid stability. Another small tweak that made a huge difference for me: breathing. Most people hold their breath during ab workouts, but that actually limits engagement. Try exhaling as you contract your abs. Blow the air out through your mouth, like you're trying to fog up a mirror. You'll feel your core tighten up instantly. That's your deep transverse abdominis firing, the muscle that acts like a natural weight belt around your torso. By week 5, I noticed something crazy. Even though I wasn't doing traditional ab days anymore, my abs were working all the time. During push-ups, pull-ups, handstands, that's when I realized true core training isn't about isolation, it's about integration. Your abs are supposed to support movement, not just look good in the mirror. And here's the kicker. Once you train your abs to stabilize and control, the aesthetics come naturally. I didn't chase a six-pack. It showed up because my body was finally using my core the way it was designed to. So if you've been grinding away at crunches and not seeing results, here's your first step: slow down. Focus on control, not reps. Engage your core before every movement, and pay attention to your posture and breathing. It matters more than you think. I'll show you exactly how to build that control in the next part. The 3 exercises that completely changed my ab training, and how you can master them too. But before we get there, I want you to test something. Right now, lie down on the floor, flatten your lower back against the ground, lift your legs just a few inches, and hold. If you feel your abs shake immediately, congratulations. You've just found the gap between what you think is core strength and what it actually is. That's where we start building. Stay with me, because what comes next will completely redefine how you train your abs forever. Think you've been training your abs the right way? I thought so too, until I realized almost everything I was doing was wrong. I used to crank out hundreds of crunches, sit-ups, and leg raises, chasing that burning feeling like it meant progress. But here's the uncomfortable truth. That burn doesn't always mean your abs are working. Sometimes it's your hip flexors or even your lower back taking over while your core just tags along for the ride. When I started my 90-day calisthenics-only ab journey, I ditched everything I thought I knew. No fancy machines, no weights, just my body. It sounded simple, but it completely changed how I understood strength. I realized that most people don't actually train their abs, they just move. Real ab training isn't about how many reps you can do, it's about how much control you have in every rep. Think about it. How often do you see someone swinging their legs during hanging raises, or yanking their torso up during crunches? That's momentum, not muscle. Every time you rush or use your limbs instead of your core, you're teaching your body bad habits. And those habits don't just stall your progress, they affect your posture, your performance, and even your breathing. The first big shift for me was understanding that abs aren't just for movement, they're for stability. Their main job is to keep your spine and pelvis steady while everything else moves. Imagine your core as the base of a skyscraper. If that base isn't strong, it doesn't matter how tall or flashy the building is, it'll crumble under pressure. The same goes